Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and this is King and Balloons, the arcade game being played on Mame 2003 Plus on the RetroArch, which RetroArch isn't really an emulator, it's really a collective of emulators that can play all kinds of classic games. And this is one that's from the Mame 2003, which is actually the best Mame emulator in there, mostly because it's on the PC RetroArch, and it's also available on the Raspberry Pi RetroArch as well too, which is what I use mostly to play games. I've been using the Raspberry Pi a lot lately to play all these old classic games. It actually plays them better than my current PC does a lot of the time without putting up much of a fuss, which is actually quite surprising when a Windows PC is actually not as good as doing something than opposed to a Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi actually did a much better job at doing something in Windows PC. You shouldn't really expect that for a computer on a single circuit board, but that's often the case with the Raspberry Pi, and considering how quality of things has often declined, and even quality of games have declined a lot too. I find games these days are very complex, don't really offer as much uniqueness, but this game actually is complex in a way where it's still simple enough to be played in an arcade, and yet it offers a really fun, unique experience. In this game, King of Balloons, it's very similar to Galaxian, but instead of destroying aliens, you're destroying balloons, which are clearly revolutionaries. I often think of this game as Q for treason, the video game, and these balloon things want to capture the king. They probably want to kill the king so their land could become a republic, but we don't want that to happen. It's our job to defend the king. What's interesting too is when you get killed in this game, you don't really get killed, because you don't really lose a life, it just gets destroyed, and sure, then it takes off a few seconds, which gives them more time to capture the king, but you really lose lives when the king gets captured and brought away. So you pretty much have to destroy the balloons, you get a good score, and of course you're trying to get a high score, because that's what all these games are about, right? Getting a really good score. You just simply move left and right. It's a very simple game overall. You're trying to protect and defend the king, which is, a pretty worthy job. You have to risk your life to save the king and save the royal family lineage from not existing anymore, because that's what would happen if we let these rebels get the hold of the king. They're probably going to make our land one of those cursed republics. Those cursed republics are going to have democracy that always fails, and it's going to end up in a lot of civil wars and filled with crime at some point in the future. And they keep sending and shooting a lot of things down at us too. This is actually kind of a rare Namco game. This game never actually appears in any of the Namco Museums, except for the Namco Museum Battle Collection for the PSP, which the PSP is in a rough condition right now, because the battery in it ruptured, so it's not really portable anymore. So the way I could really play it now is if I plug it in, and even then, there's a good chance the cord might come undone on it, and then you could lose your spot in the game. So I don't really use my PSP much anymore because of that. I usually just play on the Raspberry Pi now. I play the PSP games, and so then who needs a PSP when you have a Raspberry Pi? You need a PSP when you have a laptop. Because, laptops could also be portable as well, too. So really, when you look at it that way, there's really no point, really, in having a PSP anymore. And I kind of see that in general these days with portable games. You don't really see very many portable handheld game systems anymore. That's because smartphones and other mobile devices now are really good at gaming. That's all you really need these days when you're out on the go gaming. It's a smartphone or a tablet or something like that. I've only ever owned one tablet in my entire life. I've only ever owned one smartphone in my entire life too, and I still have them. Heck, I'm using my smartphone right now to record the dialogue, the commentary for this video, so go figure. I'm using my phone for all that. My phone's actually a very important part of all of our lives for that very reason. So lots to record really good commentary. We serve as a really good microphone to record good commentary for your YouTube videos. And everyone needs to make YouTube videos these days in order to, live a decent life, right? So they can make money. I wish I made money off my YouTube videos, but YouTube's stupid these days, so I haven't been able to be monetized yet. I've been on YouTube for nearly 4.5, almost 5 years now, and I still haven't been able to monetize my YouTube channel because of YouTube's dumb monetization rules. But that's how it is on YouTube these days. YouTube's always been a bullcrap place. I wonder if my video's gonna get flagged for me saying that kind of stuff. Does YouTube flag videos for people talking crap about YouTube? I don't know. Sometimes different balloons merge into one balloon. If you shoot down all the different phases of that one balloon, you actually get a really big score by doing that. And the king just got captured yet again. We're on our last king now, so to us protect that fat king. He is pretty fat compared to a lot of the other people in this game. He probably eats too much or something, though, which is probably why he starves his people. I don't wonder why his people don't like him. He starves his people. He probably takes all the food for himself, and lives like a king, literally. While everyone else is just a bunch of peasants that get absolutely nothing. They probably just eat tomato paste, maybe, and rye if they're lucky. But on normal days, they probably eat garbage or stuff like that. Because the king, they probably eat the king's garbage or the king's leftovers or food the king doesn't want. Even though we're pretty much almost dead, the rebels pretty much have us surrounded and ambushed at this point. I still have to do all I can to feed off the rebels, to fight off these rebel invaders, these rebel forces, these revolutionaries, and save our king, and get a really good score. While actually games back in these days were all about score and not really much about anything else. Since when games really have stories, right, or anything like that? That's what some people would say. Since when should gaming ever about stories? A lot of games these days are very complex, I find. That's the reason why I don't own any new systems. Someone just commented on one of my Ms. Pac-Man for the Sega Genesis video the other day, where he said, "You made this video 2 years ago, so how come you didn't have a PS4 or Xbox One?" Well, because I don't have any of those systems. I don't play on those systems at all. I played Ms. Pac-Man on the Genesis because I believe that the Sega Genesis version of Ms. Pac-Man is the best version of Ms. Pac-Man. So I rest my case there, but I like it when people comment on my videos and ask me funny questions like that. It's actually, quite entertaining, I think, overall, when people ask me stuff like that. So it's game over for me now. I got a pretty decent enough score. It's not the best score I ever got, but you know how it always is. You never do your best score when you're being filmed, right? This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.